Hey there, it's Chris of the Laurelman Project. Yeah, I finally did actually make the YouTube channel for this, so yay that. And if you remember last time we were bulking out, we definitely bulked out more of the form, and we started adding a little more detail in the back area here, starting to get a little muscle structure going. And this time I think we're gonna try to get the main chest abs kind of side, the main block over there kind of figured out this time, which is going to be a little new to me. Whoop. Haven't really had to do that for any of the other models before, so this could be really easy and be done really quick. This could be a learning experiment, and this entire segment could be a disaster waiting to happen. But we're going to learn this together, and we're going to go about and see what we can do. That said, so far I feel like I'm on a decent pace with how the back here has been turning out. So hopefully we can make the front look just as good. All right. That said, being as I haven't really done this before, what are the pitfalls or what are the thoughts I have going through my head? My first is there's a difference between built and toned when it comes to muscle structure. And so what I mean on that is one thing I don't want to have happen, do not want to have happen, is I don't want the muscles to feel kind of the comically big as I go. Yes, you can see every individual thing on him, it's exemplified. But if we want to go a visual example of what I don't want to have happen, I'm actually going to use Dragon Ball as an example for this. And if you're familiar with the character Broly, this is what I don't want to have happen. This is where you try to build out. I'm pointing at the screen, doesn't help when this is covering it. This is what happens when you want to emphasize every muscle, but then all of them start almost feeling more like balloons in and of themselves. It's just, each one is almost comically big, and that's not the direction I want to go with on this. Instead, if I can look at something else that might work, something like a Yang here from Final Fantasy IV. This is the remastered version. Well, apparently I didn't cover my webcam very well. Ooh, you see my hand. But yeah, something like this feels more correct. You have a little more mass behind the muscles, and then the skin is kind of pulling it tighter, so it doesn't feel like balloons sticking out of them. Or if you want to go back to the Blaze Blue on Central Fiction, one of the main antagonists of the group is, whoop, I didn't turn the webcam off, is you have Azrael, who's also in here, he also has kind of the same aesthetic going. But yeah, again, it's showing muscle structure without actually just making everything feel like balloons in and of themselves. It's more of a toned look. So what I'm going for is more toned. I was going to use a different example. Remember the movie Fight Club, but at the same time, we don't talk about Fight Club. It's one of those rules. Must follow it. But that's another one if you want a non-animated, more real-life example of kind of what we're going for with a toned look. That would be that. So, getting back to the webcam, coming back on. All right, so here we are, starting this. But before we get started, I finally stopped off at work. I had a board sitting around. I finally chopped a couple pieces so I could make a temporary base on this thing first. So, how about we do that? So I have my nice, got my drill. This is one of those tools I do spend a lot of money on. So this thing is great. I have learned over time there are tools you can spend a lot of money on, and there are a lot that you can buy the cheap thing and it's 100% fine. Because if you got like blades or whatnot, you can spend a fortune on blades, or you can get the cheap stuff. And I'll let you know, the second you hit a nail or something with any kind of blade, whether it be the scroll saw, skill saw, the reciprocating saw, especially reciprocating saws, oscillating saws, anytime you hit a nail, blade's going to die anyway. So you don't spend money on that type of stuff. On the other hand, some things you do spend a lot of money on. So stuff like this, yes, I got a good one before. But we are going to go whoop, right around there, ought to work. Now I'm only going to kind of go halfway on this. And what I mean by that is, at this point, I will have a second one for the other foot that goes down, but for now, I'm not dealing with the actual foot structure. So I'm just gonna stick you in here. Realize I didn't drill you as straight down as I wanted to. I wanted you maybe a little more of an, maybe just a little more of an angle. Let's not put this on the ground so I have to reach all the way back down again. That doesn't really help. And we can see now, pose is actually looking a little more like what it's supposed to look like now that it's actually in here. It's, you know what, we're going to give, this is why this is a temporary base. We're going to give you just a little bit of an angle. Get in there. Too much angle? Well, if I do that, I could bring the other one down because that's not too bad. Maybe I could put the foot actually kind of in here. Maybe I could put a foot so I can put the other hole down there. So we need to change from the 1/8 inch bit to, I believe this is 3/32. I kind of already pre-selected it. Give me 1 second while I swap out the bit. Okay, so I'm going to stick you kind of down here. Ooh, apparently my battery is dying. I forgot to check. I always have several batteries on hand at any given point in time. And yeah, it's because we're doing a lot of decking stuff recently, and apparently that's the battery I was using all day the other day at work. And that is missing stuff. Why am I missing stuff? 1 second. I was supposed to have... Oh, there you go. You. Because one of those things I really should do is we will have the wire base here, the wire kind of go down. It's not going to go straight down. I'm going to have it go and kind of be part of the foot as well. So let's go and wrap that around so it can be part of the foot as well. Now we want this to be tight, tight, tight because the foot doesn't take up that much space. And then I'm just going to turn off the webcam real quick so you can see his shoes. His shoes are a little, you know what, we're not seeing his shoes that much on this image. How about we go with this one? You can see on his right foot there, his shoes only really touch the ground, the little point on the toes and the heel, and that is it. So that's why we're bringing this wire all the way back to the heel, and then we'll bring that right down into the hole in the end. Okay, and now this does not need to be super long. And we can now use that. I can stick you in that hole. I can stick you in that hole. And we now have him sticking up, even though this foot isn't going all the way in. Sometimes it takes a time or two to kind of take it in and out, in and out, in and out to kind of work the hole a little bit. Sometimes you get little kind of fluffy things in there. The fact that it's an 1/8 inch dowel with an exactly 1/8 inch hole means there's very little playroom on that. And there we go. We now have a little more appropriate. He can now stand up I'm feeling better about that. That said, he's not going to be in the base very long today because I'm going to be doing everything in shadow if I do it like that, so this will be nice for the future, but I just had the stuff and I figured I might as well use it. So, where are we going from here? Let's go and kind of, let's get a little more clay out here, because I know I'm going to want to use a little bit and have a little bit more on hand. Might not be bad. And we are already 10 minutes in, and I've done, feels like nothing. Although I've made a visual, one thing I said I'm always going to do, make a visual difference. He's now attached to a stand, so technically I have the visual difference, so yay. Alright, so I don't need much on here, because depending which image we go off of, if I'm going, oh, now we're back into, oh, it's zooming. Hey, I think we zoomed back in. Okay, good. If we're going off of this image, his waist is actually pretty good right now in terms of width and whatnot. This is actually about what he wants to be. If we come back to the pose image I'm going off of, my waist right now is actually big, and I need to shrink it down a little bit. So I think my game plan right now is the chest feels like it's sticking out a little big. That could be I've done a lot of female characters recently. I might just be used to adding stuff to the chest more than I need to. So this might get flattened out just a little bit when I go there. But I think when I get to the abs themselves, I'm going to have those be more of an additive process. We pull out each one, kind of stick it to, smooth out, and go. But on the side here, I think I'm going to actually carve down the side a little bit so I can get somewhere between this and the other one. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly right, but if I can get kind of between the two images, I think we're going to be okay. That said, just gave myself some more clay to work with, so let's just kind of run it through a couple times, leave it out a little bit. And then I got to stop stalling, because I've been stalling for a while. It's actually been about a week since I've modeled anything. So I kind of got sidetracked with making the YouTube page and all that. So now everything is done. I got the banner page, like the banners and all that made up. Got everything kind of ready to go. I haven't uploaded anything. I'm kind of waiting to see how this thing turns out first, because this is the part I'm probably most worried about on the entire project, is the muscle structure. Everything else is pretty cut and dry. It's not, it may be time consuming here or there to do certain things, but it's not difficult per se. So I kind of just want to see how this was going to turn out first, and then go from there. Let's see, I could do something like that and just prop it. If I were to pop you up on this, hey, if we do that, now we can see it. I can keep him on the base and do my thing from there. Alright, but first, the back isn't having any light issues. So, where are my tools? Alright, don't need you, do need you, do need you, and I'll probably... So in addition to my normal 3 of the back of the paintbrush, this guy, and a knife, I'm probably also going to be using this one with kind of a little bead on the top. I have different sizes. I have a whole bunch of different sizes for that. But I think that is going to be really good for kind of smoothing out inside any of the details. I don't know if you've ever seen the videos by, I believe it's Dr. Garuda who put them out. I think that's one of the ones he uses a lot of, is this guy, in terms of smoothing out his stuff. And his works are all freaking amazing. Mine is not quite going to get to that level, but I think we're going to see what we can do. Okay, so how do we want to do this? We have part of what I need is the side to come in a little bit. Now, fun part is with clay is when you squeeze in an area, that means the clay is going to go somewhere else. So if I'm squeezing it a little bit on the side, it's going to wind up going somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going to wind up flowing out somewhere. So part of this is taking a little bit of that into account. And let's see, I think we want to add a little more kind of, well, it's going to be on both sides. But I think we want a little more kind of up here, which means I need more than that. All right, and a lot of this is just going to be done by feel. We're not going to do like really many hard measurements on this. We're just kind of doing a lot of this part by feel, and we're going to see what looks right in the end. So that's going to come down. That's ultimately going to wind up being kind of the side pieces here. Okay, I will say right now this is nice actually being in the stand, that I can manipulate a little bit better. Let's see, this doesn't need to come up all the way. Oh, you know what? Stand is gone. Never mind, that was quickly, that was short-lived. It's easier just to pick it up and move it around. I'm not super, nothing is finalized at this point. So if I need to touch up things as I go, I hit something wrong, whatever. I think I'm okay with that. Okay, so there's probably going to be a decent amount of kind of doing and redoing some of these areas as it goes. Now again, you're not going to see necessarily the upper back here. However, if we want the muscles, the things we are going to see to hook in correctly, it's going to help to aim the camera. It's going to help to have these areas a little more correctly in here. So that's going to come forward. You want to round off a little bit, bring it back into there. I do want that down here. Let's see, I have you going down a little too far. So let's bring it back a little. The hardest part is trying to find an angle to get our stuff at. So we want you to kind of come back. Again, we're not looking to make balloons out of these muscles. We're just looking to kind of get a toned look. So this is going to come up. That gets us to the side. A little bit of this to kind of read like it's going up. know I have a lot of dead time on here. I was hoping to do this yesterday, but when I had kind of made my initial schedule for myself on how I was going to do these projects, it was going to be hoping for the 5 hours a week, and then I'd have probably of that, 2 of those hours would kind of be after work, like on a probably Monday or Friday. Then the other 3 hours would be on like the Saturday and Sunday deal, and it would probably be generally on the weekend a bigger workout day on either Saturday or Sunday, and more recording stuff on the other of the days. Well, turns out I was very correct on that. Went for like a 9 mile run yesterday, which is where we start getting into kind of distance. I think anything over 8 miles is where I start feeling like it's an actual kind of distance workout. And yeah, my body wasn't happy with it. I think the longest run I had done so far was about a 10K for this training session. And yeah, body wasn't pleased with my life choices afterwards. It was definitely didn't drink enough on the thing. Kind of dehydrated, had like that headache going for most of the night, and it was just no, it wasn't going to happen. Definitely wasn't going to. It wasn't going to work out in the end. So I figured with the bigger workout yesterday, today I can go and actually try to get a number of these segments done. And then hopefully finally tonight upload the first video so we can finally get these going out. Like I said, I had done all of the previous one, the Night Witch project before. I got about halfway through it and I was like, oh, I can start uploading these. And I kind of realized it's more fun to kind of do it a little more live, so things I'm talking about are a little more relevant and whatnot. And I think in order to kind of keep that, I would like to start getting these out at this point. So yes, it's going to be like a week behind or whatever for at least a short while, but that's not nearly as bad as being, say, a month behind or whatever I was back on the other project. So I think that's going to work out in the end. Okay. All right, so we have you kind of coming up. I'm not sure this looks right yet. Probably because I took the shoulder blade off when I did this. So we're going to need to put the shoulder blade back on, even though shoulder blade's not going to be visible in the end. Still, we're going to do it. Yeah, no, first, usually there are a couple firsts that usually get me every season. The big one is in the spring. The first time it's like 70 degrees outside and I go for a run, that's like, say, 5 miles or more, I will 100% dehydrate. My body just freaks out. It does not know what to do with warm weather. It's like, so thankfully I had that one. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, or I forget if it was last weekend or 2 weeks ago. I went out to the local kind of preserve to do a trail run, and oh, my body was so bad off after that one. I think it was like 75 degrees. I'd been doing zone 2 stuff the whole time, so it was like the nice, easy, like 10-mile jog kind of things, and that was the first time it was both warm, and I was like, no, we're not going to use a heart rate monitor on this one. We're just going to go. And my body didn't like the life choice on that at all. So that one, it freaked. And usually when it comes to distances, there are a couple check marks my body kind of goes from depending on it. First is usually I can tell if it's going to be a decent run or bad within the first 3 miles. I'll know if something's going to be fine or not. My body's in there. Sometimes, usually within like the first half mile, I can figure that part out. But usually I give myself about 3 miles to kind of figure out how's the body feeling. Are we going good? Are we not going good? Is this going to be fine? And like I said, yesterday I started with zone 2. First mile was killing it. It was awesome. It was fast. But then by mile 3, it kind of, for whatever reason, the heart rate didn't want to stay down. It fell apart. I was like, okay, that's fine. If I can't do slow, I'm going to go faster. If I can't do zone 2, I'm going to do zone 4. So AKA, if I want my heart rate to be under 140 beats per minute for the zone 2, I want to be over like 160, 165 for zones 4 to get something out of the workout. So I switched things up. I did the rest of 9 miles faster. That's fine, whatever. So usually by mile 3, I can tell if that type of transition has to be made. Next one is usually about a 10K is where the first real wall kind of comes in when I'm very first kind of starting out a season. And the body just doesn't want to, it starts falling apart around that. I kind of start losing breath and getting tired and whatnot. So that's kind of the first wall. It doesn't take long to get over. It's like another week's worth of practice. I can get over that wall. That's pretty quick. The next one is the one I wanted to get over yesterday, which is about 8 miles. And for whatever reason, 8 miles is where if I'm going to get like aches or pains in the legs or whatnot, that's where I'm going to feel it. So yesterday I went and did about 9.25. So good news is physically I am fine. I can do whatever I want with that. I'm actually feeling pretty good on that front. So that one's a big relief because sometimes that being out of breath for like a 10K or whatever, that's easily surmountable. When the legs physically start feeling stuff and kind of falling apart, that's usually a whole different other one. But this time we're doing fine. We are A-okay, except I dehydrated myself because it was warm and I wound up going faster than I planned on going. So body just wasn't really prepped for that. But again, that's part of the game. But I now know that, yeah, I will definitely have one of the weekend days will definitely be going more towards get a good, hard, fast workout in, or get a good, hard, longer distance kind of thing in. And the other day will be the modeling day because, yeah, after the hard workout, it's just not going to happen. Reality eventually has to kick in, and it is just not going to happen. Okay, we have a little different muscular structure going on. I think we're there. We're going to re-pop in some shoulder blades. And then I think we're going to start moving towards the chest. What time are we? Oh, we are halfway through, and I have done... feels like nothing good. Shoulder blade's going to go right back up in here. That's a little big of a chunk. And if you couldn't tell, I'm still stalling on doing the front part as much as I can. I shouldn't be. This isn't bad. If there's anything I've learned before, is nothing is hard. Things may take more time to do to get right, but it's not going to be hard per se. It just means I might need to work some things a little more than I otherwise would. Okay, now we don't want these things again. I'm not looking for a balloon type look. We just want a subtle mass up there. Yes, we have subtle. Subtle, subtle, subtle is what we're looking for. Although this is Bank Shishigami. There's no subtle in Bank Shishigami, but we are going to do a little bit of subtle stuff. That's it. I already had an awkward morning this morning. Just figured, okay, it is Memorial Day weekend. We're gonna go do our shopping stuff. I know I need more. I need another set of trail shoes. Like I need another set of work shoes. I need to go out and just like get the stuff. So I love that feeling when you go to the store. You know exactly what you want. You haven't been there in a while because I mean it's not a purchase you make all the time. Usually it's like once or twice a year I make these purchases, whatever. So I go in and, well, the brand I've been wearing for the last, I don't know, decade or so, local place doesn't sell anymore. Like, oh, surprise. You know that thing you went out exclusively to go and pick up? It doesn't exist. So, good thing is I don't even need to try on the stuff that I usually get. I've been getting the same thing forever. My legs are used to it at this point. So I can just buy the thing online. It'll be fine. But it's never a good feeling when you go out. You know exactly what you want to get. and then it just doesn't exist. It's like, why? Why are you doing this to me right now? I don't need this. How can you not exist? You've been here for, I've been buying the same thing for like a decade now. How'd you stop selling it? My feed, when I started doing the running about, or started getting back into the running stuff, maybe, I guess it was like 15 years or so ago. I initially started with the Brooks, or the Brooks shoes, because any other one I had was like causing my feet, my legs issues, although that probably wasn't the shoe issue. That was probably more a fact that I was always tight and never loosened myself up. But so I started with that, and then I kind of shifted to the Saucony after that for both kind of the trail run. They had more of a trail running. I think the toe box is a little bigger and whatnot. So I kind of shifted to Saucony, and I've been using that for, yeah, literally the last decade or so. But yeah, no, a place I usually go to now doesn't, they don't sell the Saucony ones anymore. So I'm sure the other things they have are probably good. They're fine. They do the job. It's just, if I'm getting ready for effectively the hardest race, physically the hardest race I've ever had to do, I'd like to stick with what works at this point. So we're gonna go ahead and order, I think, the stuff that I know works for me and just be good with that. Okay, that's not too bad. I think we have something going on. May or may not be right. Let's angle you down just a little bit more. Okay, here we go. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm probably going to have the fingers in the back, so again, I will be touching things up as I go throughout this. But first thing, let's see if we can get the chest. Actually, let's fill the void in here first, and then I think we go. We definitely have bad stuff happening right in here. Then I think we start with the chest first, work our way down, get the center, and then work out from there. And this will probably take into the next, this will absolutely take into the next session. There's no probably about it. I'm looking at the time. I have like 20 minutes or 25 minutes or whatever it is to get this in, to get this done in this session. So, nope. We will probably start looking stronger in this time, but it's not going to be 100% done. Okay, void is filled. That's a big one. Let's see, so now we need the chest is going to come down. And actually, I didn't think I was going to need to add to the chest. It might not be a bad thing to do that. Also, let me send this through. Alright, sending that through one more time. So yes, I should have just really the shoes to go, and I should be... Actually, no, I need to... If I'm going to keep prepping for the race, I need to get another hydration vest. The ones... I use 2 hydration vests, and I have 2 different hydration belts that I've used for these races, because the way they're set up is you do the half marathon distance, you do... Actually, it's probably around anywhere from 16 to 20 miles, or 16 to 18 probably, miles on the first loop of the course. Then you're able to come back to a transition area. You can swap out your gear, swap in new gear, and then go and do the second loop on the course. So I have 2 vests I've been using. I have 2 hydration belts I've been using just so I can dump them and start the next loop with something fresh. But last time one of the belts had broken, or the zipper and stuff had broken, so it doesn't really work. So what I had done with that one is at the transition, I just swapped everything from the bad one to the good one that I have and went from there, and that was fine. Problem is my vests, both of them are actually currently need to be held together by clothespins. None of the zippers and stuff work on either. So it might be worth picking up, if not the belt, another vest, maybe the two, just to get that working again. Because right now that's kind of going to be a big problem. And I really don't want to have that kind of problem in the race. I did have once where the timing chip on the second obstacle of the course, we're going over, I think it was the hurdle thing, which is about 4 feet high. It's like a it's like a 6x6 board, kind of use it as a diamond shaped thing. It's about 4 feet high. You kind of hop over, and I kind of ripped the timing chip off my wrist doing that on the second ultra I ever did, and I had to put that in my hydration vest pocket. Except my hydration vest pocket was broken. So thankfully, before the race had started, I had packed a couple of safety pins and what in there. So on the course, I'm safety pinning the pocket closed so that I could, so I wouldn't lose the timing chip as I went over everything, because I couldn't get it ripped off. I couldn't put it back on my wrist again. That wasn't going to work. So it might be nice, even just for in case something dumb like that happens again, to kind of be prepped for it. It'd be nice to be able to put things back in the pockets, not have to just be able to zip and zip, done, and not have to worry about, well, really anything. If I'm keeping any kind of foods, I don't really keep solid food things on me during the race. It's generally a liquid diet for the races, and I have some kind of gummy things. What did I use last time? Honey Stinger. I think it was the Honey Stinger stuff I used last time. The Honey Stinger gummies, which I'll probably use again. I've used them twice now, and they do work for me. But it'd be nice to have a place to store those effectively and not have to worry about losing them or them having issues and whatnot. So I think we're gonna need to raise this chest up just a little bit. Let's get up here. A little bit coming off in that area. Sometimes you do just have to take a little bit of clay off. You don't just push it around. All right, so we're starting. We're starting to get in here. But more pressingly, I have, let's say, the first race is coming up now in about a month and a half. By 4th of July weekend, I'm signed up for the Palmerton. The Palmerton Super, my usual. I've done that one now. This is probably either 4th or 5th time I'm doing that one. I love it. The thing is, it's an impossible course. It's, like I said, the first mile you climb 1,000-foot mountain. You go back down it, and then you climb the 1,000-foot mountain again. Like right back to back. In the first 3 miles, you've done like 2,000 feet of climbing. So, I mean, it just destroys your legs. There's no speed or anything involved in the course. But it is a fun one, I will admit. Thankfully, I do the age group type competitions. I'm in the age group bracket whenever I do things, which means if you're in the competitive brackets, they set you off as the kind of first things in the morning. So, thankfully, for a race that's scheduled for the kind of middle of July, I'm usually done by like 9 in the morning or so. So, or 9:30 in the morning, I am done. So, that part helps. But remember the first time going there, I dehydrated so badly on that course. But at the same time, it would be nice having equipment that works for that one. Hydration vest is still a must. There are a lot of people who go, oh, it's just a 10K race. I don't need hydration vest. I can just either, I'll go with nothing or I'll just have like a little belt on the side with 17 ounces. And I'm like, nope. This is what we call experience. I've been there before. I've done it. I know that's not going to work for me. So, okay, I'm kind of feeling pretty okay with the chest right now on this. It looks like it has some power going. Let's see, that's going to go into the underarm. Kind of comes down in here, so we're going to need to make sure we're going to have an underarm, which my arms are not big enough as it is, but you're also not going to see the arms because, yeah, all of this part is going to be covered. But that's not feeling too terrible. Okay. Chest, or the ab portion itself. What time are we? We can at least get the start on the abs. This is actually pretty good. We're going to have enough time to get the start on the abs. I'm not going to probably get them finished, but I'll be able to have the break time in the middle here between this and the next session to kind of look it over, see what needs to be touched up, what works, what doesn't work. And I think that's ultimately going to be to my benefit on this. And your benefit as well, because you probably want to see stuff that looks good in the end. And so if you want to see stuff that looks good, this will be to both of our advantage. Oh, you're not watching that. But all I'm doing is just kind of carving kind of the ab box shape to come down here. And this is, yeah, where we're going to go from that. You're going to come down the legs. You're going to come down the legs. That's fine. That's not ripping. I didn't cut it very well. Whatever. Not super hung up on that. But if you're going to be kind of that ab section, now I need to get rid of all this junk on the ground before it sticks to everything that I don't need it to stick to. Okay, that can blend in 100% on the legs and whatnot, don't care. He is wearing, well, maybe not pants so much on the side, but he is wearing pants and that belt, so they're going to help. Okay, if I'm going to stay this steep of something, that is going to look a little more balloony. At the same time, I'm going to be adding clay to the side of this as well, so I shouldn't worry too much. I do want this coming in a little bit though. So let's get, oh, this is looking very awful until this gets wiped down, smoothed off. Okay, not feeling too good about this at the moment, but again, just like kind of on the back, we're gonna work this out, and eventually it will. In the end, this will look good. I can make that assurance, because it's just a matter of how long it's going to take to get there. But in the end, this will work. Now let's see. I know we have you kind of coming that piece kind of comes in. This might be where this guy helps, because he can kind of fit in the area a little better. Not so sure about that tool. Maybe I'm just not used to using that tool, but not so sure about that one. Yeah, sometimes it's nice to have all the tools in the world, but it's also good to have your bread and butter ones you're very comfortable using. You know what you can do, you know what you can get away with, and just kind of go from there. Okay, so kind of like on the back, we have a little parting of the seas that goes on down here. Now really, the belt comes up to about there-ish, so anything down below this isn't going to matter. And actually, looking at the preview, it's actually not terrible. Could be worse. So I see this comes down, and then that's kind of coming into here. Actually, it feels like it even comes further up and down. So how does that look? Okay, this is kind of following the rib cage down, it looks like a little bit, before it comes back in that direction. We do have this, which came down just a little. So let's actually just take a little bit off down in there. I don't want to do too much, just get a little bit of this side off. Yeah, because then from there, what do we have kind of coming up? We have a number of muscles that then kind of which actually, this I can look at myself. I do have, because of my job, if I'm carrying boards or whatnot around, usually I'm kind of either have a board, I'm carrying a board and like a shoulder on one side, I can carry like a 2x12, 2x10, 2x8, whatever on one side, one on the other. So I'm always kind of asymmetrical. So these guys I tend to have on me. This, I have a runner build, so I can't 100%. after a run or when I'm getting closer to competition time, the ab part kind of shows up. But this I tend to have all the time, so I could actually use myself as the example for these guys. And maybe someday I'll actually learn the names of those muscles, because I don't know them off the top of my head at all. That's just kind of what it is. But let's see if we can kind of give a little something going here. Then you come up. And that's where it kind of hits the wall up there. And that's where this muscle comes in, and those guys just kind of dead end into it. Okay, so right now, just want to do a little bit of smoothing out. And actually, it looks like the abs themselves are probably going to be next session. I just want to kind of smooth out some of this. Just kind of, again, take the edge off of everything. I don't know if that's 100% correct. All right, not feeling very good about that section. We're gonna be 100% redoing that next time. But if we have, yeah, this big guy there, he's kind of started it. Yeah, this guy doesn't feel too bad. And then what do we have after that now? Okay, well, it feels like he looks slightly different than this. It's almost like I need this to actually come down. Maybe that's it. I have this is starting too high up. I just need to lower. Yeah, I think that's part of the problem. I need to lower everything, and I added too much detail to that. So what I actually want is you to come down a little bit. You can come over. Kind of to here and up. I can smooth that into there so it's a little bigger. Yes, maybe work on the main guys here first, and then I can come back and get some of the other ones a little bigger. Okay, this is where I can see someone like this coming in and being helpful. What time are we? Okay, so we're pretty much at the time. So I'm just going to do a little more playing with this section, and we're going to call it here. And the next time, we're going to see if we can get these abs to actually look good. So I think we got a decent start on the back. I think this was improved a little bit until I started messing things up at the end. Just going to smooth all that out. We're going to pretend that hasn't happened. Easy enough to do. Down here. Next ab. Kind of comes down. Kind of comes in. Okay, this is starting to look good. The side things, yeah, we're gonna figure that out as we go. But this is looking a little bit better. We then have one more kind of low one down here. Yeah, no, this is just a start. There is definitely more muscle stuff that's going to help tie all this together. This is just kind of the start of it and nothing more. But I think we're just going to stop right there. And next time, I'm going to spend some time off of here, just kind of getting a game plan, how I want to do this in the next session. And then we're going to improve them. So let's put that in. Let's put you in. So if nothing else, we got ourselves a back. We have a back which is looking okay, even though a lot of it's going to be covered. But yeah, no, front is, I'm feeling okay on the chest itself, but yeah, middle we'll figure it out. We'll muddle our way through this, but that will be next time. So until then, enjoy.